No, sometimes we hit 6. We're not. Okay, 6 o'clock. I'd like to call the regular meeting of council to order Tuesday, April 25th, 2023 at 6 p.m. We are being held, transmitted electronically via council chambers temporarily located at 38 King George Street, Lake Cowichan. I want to thank the Savantsa people for allowing us to share their lands where we work, live and play together in harmony. Any introduction of late items? Councillor Frisbee.
First off, leave of absence for myself for the next committee of the whole meeting on May 9th.
We'll put that under new business. C. Leave of absence. May 9th. Anything else? Anyone? Yes, one more.
I've got 2 more actually, and they're just short questions. But first one under new business will be short-term rental rules clarification.
It'll be D.
And then the second, if I may, economic development fund.
And that's E then.
And then lastly, if I may, could I request that we explain our question period now that we don't take the pause near the start of the meeting so that
Yes.
everyone knows how to see it.
I can do that. That doesn't need to be on there. You can put it at the top if you like.
Very much.
We do a question period at the end of the meeting for those that are here. Anybody that's at home, you can email into general@lakecowichan.ca and we'll read out the emails at the end of the meeting during question period. You can do that. Do I have approval of the agenda as amended? Councillor Sandhu, Councillor Womacka, all in favor? Thank you. And adoption of the minutes, the first minute or the minutes of the public hearing held on March 28th. Has everyone had a chance to look at those? And Councillor Sandhu, seconder. Councillor Womacka. All in favor? And there. And the second one is the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on March 28th. Has everyone had a chance to read over those? Any errors or omissions? Do I have a mover? Councillor Womacka? Seconder? Councillor Sandhu, all in favor? Business arising and unfinished business, none. We're going to go to delegations. I'm going to put the candidates for the Cowichan Lake Ambassador Program first. If you'd like to come up and introduce, who's going to be introducing you?
I'll start out. So good evening, community members. My name is Karen Winston, and I'm here representing the Lady of the Lake Society, where I'm vice president. As some of you may know, the Lake Cowichan Lady of the Lake program has recently rebranded this year to be the Cowichan Lake Ambassador Program in order to be more inclusive and allow all genders to participate. So we do have 4 candidates here with us tonight who will be introducing themselves to you in a moment. These candidates began work in March and they have been participating weekly at Toastmasters meetings to hone their public speaking skills. They've also been certified in CPR and first aid, and they will be participating in May in a career preparedness workshop. Coming up for Heritage Days, they will also be participating on Saturday of that weekend. This will be their first public speaking engagement, where they will be presenting their sponsor speakers to the public. So without further ado, I will allow them to introduce themselves.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members and community members. My name is Mason McPherson. My sponsor is Ed's Coffee House, and my sponsor representative is Ed.
Hello everyone, my name is Megan Bell. I'm delighted to be here today. I'm proud to be representing Benevolent Protective Order of Bell Experience 293 and my sponsor representative, Pat Weaver.
Hello, my name is Olivia Humans. I'm representing the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 210, and my sponsor representative is Cindy Cook. Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Ford, and I represent the local Lake Cowichan Country Grocer, and my sponsor representative is Sarah Eubank.
Thank you.
In addition to our candidates, the Lady Lake Society is happy to be sponsoring a past member of our ambassador program who is going to be participating in the British Columbia Ambassador Program this year. This program is going to be taking place locally here in Lake Cowichan, which is very exciting. This is going to be occurring in July. So she will be participating and representing Cowichan Lake alongside 6 other candidates from around the province. So I will give her the honor of introducing herself and telling you about the program.
Hi, everybody. My name is Brooklyn Crook, and I'm representing Cowichan Lake in this year's British Columbia Ambassador Program. The BC Ambassador Program is open to anybody ages 17 to 24 who has previously held a title of ambassador in any of the programs in BC. The BC Ambassador Program aims to nurture provincial leaders of the future, promote and assist with expenses of post-secondary education, and forge links of friendship and understanding throughout communities across the province. I'm very honored to be able to participate in the first ever BC Ambassador Program that's being held in our community, and I thank you all for letting me be here today.
Thank you for coming.
And we thank you all for it.
Well, thank you so much. Did we all have something to say? Did you have anything for the ladies and gentlemen there?
I just wanted to say congratulations to the 4 of you. Congratulations, Brooklyn, for this is very exciting for you also. And Mason being the first male, I think is phenomenal. I'm very proud that you're stepping up. Wish you guys all the best of luck and enjoy this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, go ahead.
As a mother of a past princess, I know how dedicated you have to enter into this program. And a lot of skills that you're going to learn, friendships you'll make for a lifetime. And I know it was one of her wishes that it would be inclusive to be able to finally, she's quite happy to see that there's a young gentleman stepping forward. And I'm very happy for Brooklyn and for the community. And I was really hoping that there would maybe be enough time to do something to bring back all the Lady of the Lakes and the princesses and kind of have, I think they call it an alumni, to bring them into that celebrations.
For the 75th year, but because of COVID, unfortunately, we're able to, but hopefully in the next couple of years, that's what we'll do. Bring that idea back.
Yeah. So congratulations to all of you for putting their names forward.
Can I just ask one more thing? So what is the process with the ball, like the lead up to like
Yeah, so I'm not sure if like David this year, I think it's too late to really get anything going. But we are still on June 5th, I believe it is. We are still going to be having our opportunity night. And then June 7th, which will be the Friday, will be the gala night as it is usually held.
Okay. The gala. Okay, that's great. We always love to know that. Well, thank you for coming. I know my daughter was in it many, many years ago, and she really learned a lot. It is, you do make good friends and you learn a lot, and it's good for your careers in the future as well. I have some pins for you from the town. I think they're on the town. For each of the candidates, and thank you very much. Do we usually get a picture with candidates, or do we take a picture? Yes, but Tim's not here. We have to wait for the mayor? We'll see. We'll get pictures elsewhere at another time.
maybe opportunity night? We'll
Yeah, wonderful.
have one of those nights. We definitely get a picture, so we can place it at the new town office.
Yes, yes, I think we have some of the old pictures around, so thank you so much for coming. We don't have to stay for the entire meeting. I know it's going to be a little long meeting, so thank you again and best of luck to all of you, and we will be seeing you on these different events.
Great.
Heritage
Thank you all so
Day
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
guys.
We have a delegation, Sabina Travers, if you'd like to sit closer at the table there. And just so you know, a delegation, we usually allow 10 minutes for you to speak. We don't make any decisions at our meeting. We just keep the information and pass it on to a future meeting, if so in time.
Okay, I'm Sabina Travers. I requested a meeting with you, with the council, about the law. I have a lot on Neva Road. I bought it, I paid taxes on it. And I like to put a used house on it to keep it out of the landfill. But it is older than 1990. And they told me I cannot put something older on it. But I really like to put it on to keep it out. And that's why I'm here. And this is Mr. Nickel from the Nickel Brothers. This is the owner of the house I like to buy. And he's here to talk to you about a little more about it.
Thank you.
Yes, good evening, council members. Excuse me, I think we're all struggling a little bit from that springtime throat dryness, so I'll try to speak up. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. Our client, Sabina, has property here in Lake Cowichan, and she's interested in the affordable option of moving a house to her property. And so she contacted our firm, Nickel Brothers. We've been in business for over 68 years, in the business of saving buildings from demolition and finding families that are looking for financially viable alternatives to new construction. I'm sure you're all aware that affordable housing is a major crisis in the province right now. We've been providing these homes at a cost typically of 1/3 to 1/2 the cost of new construction to many clients. In fact, in the last 15 years, as we've seen demolitions increase throughout Vancouver Island and in the Greater Vancouver Regional District, what we seen last year alone, we saw over 4,000 demolitions of single family dwellings going to the landfills. Folks, we have a real problem right now in terms of solid waste diversion. There's mandates throughout the country, quite honestly, and I've talked to many people who sit on the Zero Waste Council for Canada, and they're very motivated to see more buildings saved from demolition and to find new homes. What we've seen is a real increase in the demand on the other side as well because of the affordability issue. Some of our clients, not all, they come to us because they're very driven by what they're seeing in the ecological climate change. They want to do the right things. They want to save a house from demolition. But I would say that the majority of our clients come to us because they're looking for an affordable option for housing. Typically right now in many of the areas that we move buildings to, the cost of housing is between $300 to $500 a square foot, as where a moved house represents between $100 to $140 a square foot. So in order to move buildings to the various areas, Vancouver Island and many remote coastal communities, we need the cooperation, of course, of building departments and municipal councils to allow the buildings to arrive and be situated in their municipalities. We've encountered a few regional districts and a few municipalities who have regulations, quite honestly, that don't allow for this to take place. And in working with both the federal, provincial governments and with the National Research Council regarding the National Building Code and how the building code is interpreted, we have tremendous support for the recycling and saving of buildings and relocating them to new properties. So what we would like to request at this meeting on behalf of our client, Sabina, who has property here in Lake Cowichan, that we could take a look at the current bylaws. The current bylaws require that any house coming into Lake Cowichan be post-1990 construction. As a result of this, post-1990 construction in terms of the house that's being demolished only represents 5% of the buildings that come available to us. And so it's unlikely that we would find our client, a resident of Lake Cowichan, a home that would meet the requirements here by law. In terms of the travels that we do, we've presented to many municipal councils, and we've seen a lot of different bylaws. And as I read through the bylaw, I see some very good language here. Some of the requirements in terms of the engineering reports required, we do provide that. In fact, I have copies of 7 buildings that have been moved to local regional districts that we provide engineers reports for, certifying that the building met the building code of the time that it was built, and furthermore, that the building is safe to be inhabited and safe for occupancy. So you have the signature of an engineer validating that the building is safe to be occupied. The main restriction we have under section 19 of your building code is subsection D, which does say move or cause to be moved to any building that was constructed prior to 1990. And of course, it starts off, no person shall. So you're prohibiting any buildings coming into the Lake Cowichan area built prior to 1990. So today, we would like to respectfully request that the town of Lake Cowichan would consider removing this section D from the bylaw. The remainder of the bylaw really works well in terms of preventing buildings from coming in and not being completed. The bonds are in place, the percentage bylaw that requires the building to meet the surrounding area of assessed values within the neighborhood. So there's lots of protection in place. And, you know, I would say that in terms of construction value, many studies are being done. BCIT just completed a study regarding some of the older buildings in terms of the new seismic and wind codes. And what we're seeing is that buildings built even prior to 1970 have much more seismic strength than the newer buildings post 1970. You've got fir, you've got timber and trees that can't be replaced. That first growth timber is being right now demolished at a rampant pace. We call it inner city logging at the pace these buildings are being demolished. So we're trying to divert and save as many buildings as we can from the landfill. And we have well over 30,000 clients right now watching our website, looking for financially viable options to move an existing building to their properties. And it's a great way to go, environmentally friendly and financially viable.
Thank you. Any questions from Councilor Sandhu? Thank you.
We had no information other than that you were going to be attending tonight. So we had no back information as to anything. So I would like to suggest, if we could, through the CAO, if we have a staff report come back to our committee of the whole for May 9th, looking at our end, and if we can have your information also, like with process and whatnot, and then we can have the discussion.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, we brought some information. We got copies of engineers' reports from the Cowichan Valley Regional District, where we've moved many buildings into Nanaimo Regional District and others. We'll provide these to you, just a copy of your own bylaw. And then these are just excerpts. There's 5 copies of these. This is from the National Building Code, from the British Columbia Building Code, 2018, 2015, going all the way back to actually 1995. When we first lobbied the National Building Code and National Research Council to exempt moved buildings from new building code standards. Because once you do that, it just becomes unviable to save buildings from demolition. And so I'll provide this to you. May I present this?
Thank you. As I said before, we don't make, sorry, Councilor Frisbee?
Yes, so just to follow up, so with you dealing with other municipalities, is that 1990 date line, do you see that a lot in other bylaws, or where does Lake Cowichan rank against other municipalities that you've dealt with?
This is the first time I've encountered this.
Okay. And are there any other guidelines in other municipalities that you've seen for the age of house or anything like that?
There used to be one in the township of Langley. That's one area I'm familiar with. They did do away with the age, and actually I think it was challenged by a local developer, and they didn't find it to be legally viable. Yes.
Did you have anything?
I just want to ask the address on Neva.
256 neighborhood. It's just the corner of Neva and Yubo Road.
At the top there.
Yeah, right on the top.
Okay, well, thank you. As I say, we don't make this, oh, sorry. You have your hand up again, Mr. Frisbee.
I guess, so this 1980s house, why this house? Is it because of inventory? Has the house been picked up? Like, what about this house? Is there no other options for a newer unit?
I cannot afford to build a house. I'm a dog and cat groomer. I work in a pet store in Victoria. I just can't afford it. It's just not possible for me.
As far as inventory for houses that can be moved, I guess 1990, there's not much units on.
There's nothing,
There's nothing.
nothing. I'm looking for months.
That is all.
Anything else? Okay, well, thank you. As I say, we don't make this, no, that you're at the end, the questions at the end.
Yeah.
We don't have any, make a decision at this meeting, so we will take it back to the next meeting.
And if I may offer, just some additional information, what's happening in the Pacific Northwest in terms of demolition and the numbers of demolition, it's quite exhaustive. This region is considered the demolition capital of the world right now, which is a real shame. So, moving the right direction. What we're seeing out of the city of Victoria and Oak Bay, we've seen dozens of homes move to Washington State. We have an operation in Washington State as well, where we've been welcomed with open arms. San Juan County has a real problem in terms of affordable housing. There is an entire subdivision of houses that came out of Victoria and Oak Bay in San Juan County and providing affordable housing for people. And they're beautiful arts and crafts craftsman homes, built very, very well. So it's a great option. Thank you again.
Thank you very much for your
So May
presentation.
9th is that, it'll be back to the table.
And may we also attend and
Yes.
present at that time
It's at 5 p.m.
at 5 p.m.
On May 9th.
on May 9th.
Okay,
Thank you.
wonderful.
And you don't have to stay for the full meeting, obviously, unless you want to.
Okay, and who would I turn this into?
Our CAO, thank you. You only know one speaker.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can ask questions at the end. Okay, now we're down to number 6, correspondence. We have the. Samantha, is everything okay? The Sibatsat Nation request for financial contribution for its community. I'm sure you've all read the letter from the Sibatsat. I know we have completed our budget for this year. I'm wondering if a letter of recommendation or support would be viable at this time. What is your pleasure? Councilor Bomaka.
Question to our CAO. I don't know whether it's possible, but is there C2C funding?
Generally not. You mean funding from province?
Yeah.
That's just for getting together and
So,
having get together, not this kind, not funding.
okay.
There's not generally government to government funding. Yes, Councilor Sandu.
Thank you. Do we pay into the CBRD economic development?
We do,
And so out of that, how much do we pay
21,000.
a year?
Currently, that's the.
Councilor Frisbee.
Just on, sorry, didn't attend the prior meeting. With this being a economic development portion in our area, would this fall under the criteria for our COVID relief fund?
Well, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't think it's one of the criteria under the listing that they've given us.
So if economic development's not included in the criteria,
No.
can I ask that we be presented the criteria for the COVID relief fund, please? If I may?
Councilor
Even
Bomaka.
though we've done the budget, can we check things like that to see whether there's the availability to find this money?
Well, the budget, I mean, you can always increase the budget, because the budget is not been approved, hasn't got split second, third read. You can add the amount that they're looking for and add the quarter percent tax. tax increase to the requisition that's working. So that's one option. I think the other option is when, the food is indicated. To check, to see if there's COVID funding, but I don't think COVID funding is meant for a contribution to another town or local government.
Councillor Sandu.
I was just gonna. I guess for me, a bit more information would be important as to what this person is, what the plan is with this position for 1 year and how that will impact the town of Lake Cowichan on our end. And do we have any input, our staff or whatnot? If we agree to this, will we be part of the discussion regarding overall what the plan is with the Sabats First Nation with this position? Right? So that's just a question through you to,
That would be the answer.
we can.
Yeah.
So we'll put this forward to, Councillor Volnaka.
I was just gonna say, can we put
Yeah,
this
just
forward
the
to
issue is
staff?
we're giving it first, second, third reading today. And so.
Our financial plan.
Yeah, so I think it may be too late by the time those
It has to be.
questions are responded to.
That's what I was thinking, that we've already done the budget for this year. We usually don't add things to it.
So we got first, second, third, unless you want to hold on the approval of the budget.
Councillor Lewis or Frisbee?
Could we approve the budget in the first, second, and third reading with an amendment? Can't do that.
No. We could give it 3 readings, then you have to rescind third reading, and then you're basically losing it another day.
Councillor Volnaka, Sandy, one of you.
Is there any issue with government to government funding? Like, I know with regional districts, that is an issue with, money given.
Yeah,
from government.
Yeah,
that-
usually there is, but it's still, at the end of the day, you're responsible. for
There's no restrictions though legally with,
It's not,
It's not normal.
not normal.
no, but we can look at this and I think if we could just get the clarity on the COVID, just the criteria, whether it fits or not, just for
Own information.
I think that would be helpful. And then if we could bring this back to our committee of the whole.
Or you just want the information.
Well, I need more information to be able to make a decision tonight. And,
You want, that's not enough time. By the time the committee will hold, you've got to approve the budget. So I think, from a personal point of view, I think letter of support would be more valuable in the state.
At this point, a letter of support, if everybody agrees to that. And Councillor Sandy?
so they've already received preliminary approval from the province. So I think if they needed a letter
Yeah.
of support, it would have been when they did this application. So,
Good.
I think the letter of support is more, we're supporting them in what they're doing. Is,
So we like the idea.
okay, I just have one more comment. When this application was done, was there, the question through to them is, was there a need for possible more funds to top the $70,000? Like, what was the overall request? And why is more money requested from Area IF, the town of Lake Cowichan, and that's about contributing themselves $5,000? So,
We don't have it.
so I think if we could,
perhaps at the next committee meeting, C2C meeting, that would be brought up and discussed. And that's on May 8th, I believe. Councillor Frisbee.
Just a comment on the idea, I think it's a fantastic initiative that they're taking. So it's well needed in the community and it's something that I'd like to see the town support in years to come because we have a zero. I realize we pay into the Economic Development Fund for the CVRD, but our budget at the moment is $0 for our economic development in town, which is something that needs to change. So I just want to commend them for their efforts on this. It's something that's definitely needed.
Thank you. Okay, that's that. Thank you very much. We're bringing that back to May 9th. To just, if you wanted to find out the COVID money and that kind of thing.
Just information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pardon?
We'll report back from the meeting.
Yeah, on the 8th, you have an 8th meeting. Okay, information or consent items. We received a letter from Mr. Garrett for information only. I'm sure everybody read through it and digested it, and thank you for that. And it's just for information only.
So that we can ask questions on
Would you want to?
it. I would like to ask questions.
Okay, Councillor Frisbee?
Just with, in regards to correspondence, does everything that comes into town office about the council get added to agendas? Or is there a reason why this has been added to this?
Because it's addressed to the mayor.
So everything that gets addressed to the mayor and council gets put on the agenda?
But if it's brought
If it's
straight
just
to
in-
us and put in our docket without going through the staff, then it doesn't. And that's what happened in this first case, in this case.
Yeah.
It was put in our docket, it was brought with just our names on it and put in the docket, it wasn't brought to the staff
What you're
in
talking about.
process, yeah. That was different, and that happens quite a lot. Okay. Moving, are you done? Oh, I thought you had your hand up. Oh, is it not acting on me? Committee of the whole. Okay, we got that.
Perfect.
Okay, council and committee reports, committee of the whole, April 11th. Councillor Romack had chaired that one. If you'd like to read through those recommendations, please.
Okay, thank you. For the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting held on, what date was it, Tuesday, April the 11th at 2023, with the following recommendations. That the committee recommend approval of the council code of conduct as amended. That the committee recommend approval of the Lake Cowichan Fire Department's incident report in the amount of $5,861.12 for February of 2023, which was carried. That the committee recommend that the fire chief, Lake Cowichan Volunteer Fire Department, be authorized to investigate the acquisition of a ladder truck, which was carried. That the committee recommend that staff be directed to put out a request for a consultant to undertake a traffic study of the Uptown Core during the 2023 tourist season, carried. That the committee recommend that a leave of absence be approved for Mayor McGonigal from the regular meeting of council to be held on April the 25th, 2023, carried. That the committee recommend that Darnell Road be designated as a right turn only onto Cowichan Lake Road, with the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure and local RCMP to be notified of the traffic change proposal, which was carried. And that is the report.
Do we have a seconder to move those minutes? Any errors or omissions? All those in favor? And carried. Cowichan Lake Recreation Commission, Councillor Sandu.
So we were scheduled to have a meeting this Thursday, but it's been postponed, and should happen within the next 2 weeks.
The next one is the Vancouver Island Regional Library Board. That would be me. There will be a hybrid meeting on June the 3rd. That means some are in person at one of the libraries and the others are on Zoom. That's June 3rd. Advisory Planning Commission is this Thursday. Again, that's me. We have some correspondence from a resident on River Road that has some traffic volume issues. Our new business will be the OCP update part 3. We are updating the OCP constantly, so that is a good thing. Revised land use designations and Cowichan or climate is changing report from our town planner, James Van Hoover. And that will be this Thursday. And Community Forest Co-op, the mayor is away at the moment, so there is no report from that. Cowichan Valley Regional District, also no report, I presume, from anyone. Okay.
Tomorrow's the meeting.
The meeting is tomorrow. Tomorrow is the meeting, okay. Community outreach team, unfortunately, they changed the date and I did not get the email, so I did not attend. Our next meeting will be Thursday, May 18th. And we now have our Cowichan.
Our next meeting is May 11th, 2023. At the Ramada.
That's usually in the month, yeah. Well, that is an excellent group. And Cowichan Watershed Board, Councillor
So
Sanders.
yesterday we held our meeting at the Clarkson Cultural Conference Center, and we started our meeting with a language lesson. And so we learned to count to 4. And so that was, don't ask me to do it. I'm practicing at home, but we're going to be doing this every month and just touching on different words and whatnot. So it's really, it's very fascinating. I love it. May 12th, 2023 at 11:30, there is a government to government watershed planning agreement between Cowichan tribes and the province. It's a signing agreement. Cowichan tribes will have management authority of the watershed. So this is a very important day. There will be a public celebration. This is more for Cowichan tribes members and whatnot, and some delegates, but there will be a public one coming up. We had a presentation on microplast study in the Cowichan estuary, and they're doing a comparison to the Comox estuary. And we will have the results this winter. We are working on the watershed governance manual right now, and setting the course recommendations. One thing we talked about yesterday was open mind, open heart, and willing to learn. These are 3 fundamental things that sitting at the table when we're talking about watershed these are 3 principles that we're implementing. And there was no Weir update. Tom was away, but Tom Rutherford and Lisa Fox and Clayton will be doing a presentation at the CBRD board tomorrow. And that's my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Councillor Sandu? Thank you. That sounds like another great meeting you had. We're going to move down now to staff reports. Chief Administrative Officer regarding the application for development variance permit at 74 Gordon Road, legally described as Lot 20, Plan VIP 6253 for construction of a garden suite. Mr. Fernandez.
Normally the garden suite is supposed to be constructed at the rear of the principal residence. But in this case, because they are in a riparian area, they cannot feasibly do that. So we've asked that variance be issued to them, granting them permission to locate the garden suite at front. And the recommendation from staff is to allow it. Unless council has other conditions, this is a recommendation.
Councillor Sandu has moved. Councillor Womack has seconded. Put it on the floor for discussion.
With the garage that's been removed, is it right on roadside or is it set back the appropriate amount?
Well, it was grandfathered, so it will be now taken out, and so this will replace it.
So the garden suite is, because of the foundation, is also grandfathered in to be close to the road than what a usual
No,
setback.
it's supposed, there's no setback variance. My understanding is it will meet the setback.
So it's set back from the road now.
Right.
Would you have any, Councillor Womack?
So I talked to our CAO this morning about a few things, and one of them was my concern that it was not going to be used as a vacation rental or an Airbnb. And I asked if we could put that in as conditions, and he said, yes, we can. And then I would also like to make sure that that garage that it said would be demolished would be done as also as a condition of this. And I asked if the neighbors had been notified, and he said that yes, they had.
All the adjacent neighbors have it.
The adjacent ones. So I just felt, yes, we want to create housing, but we don't want to be creating more vacation rentals. But that's for the table to decide.
Okay, Councillor Sandu?
So then this, we don't want this to be an Airbnb. We want this to be like a physical
Residential.
residential. Okay, I'm sorry, I was getting the reverse of that previous conversation.
Councillor Frisbee?
This is actually the reason why I had the short-term rental rule clarification at the end of the meeting, so I'll wait to, because I want to generally idea what the.
Yeah. So the recommendation is the development variance permit is granted to vary the standard requiring garden suite be located in the rear yard pursuant to zoning bylaw. Will be located in the front of the parcel legally described as lot 20, section 6, Renfrew District. Plan 623-253 with a street address of 74 Gordon. So that's. And you put in,
And add the two conditions.
and you added the
Not
two
be, that it not be used as P&B or.
short-term rental
Short-term, rental. So we need to move it
to add those on as well. Okay, and that would be an amendment to the motion. It's not like the ABICC where we vote on the amendment to the motion. Thank you, please.
And also the guaranteed removal of the
Oh, they will, yeah,
garage.
okay.
do that.
So all
Three
those,
conditions.
Three conditions.
they have. Yes, well, they have to move the garage to build it. All those in favor
Yeah.
with those conditions? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay. And the next one is Chief Administrative Officer, 363 Cowichan Lake Road, required remedial act. Would you like to speak to that?
Yes, based on council's direction, we had the building inspector and the fire department review the property at the 63 Cowichan Lake Road, and they came back with recommendations that basically required remedial action. And so I've written up this report based on their findings. And the motion that we would be looking for is the motion that's spelled out on page 2, whereas, starting with whereas going to number 6. If you're okay with it, then we will then advise the property owner of the conditions that we want to meet.
Okay, do we have a mover for that recommendation? Councillor Frisbee, seconder, Councillor Womaka. Any further discussion? I'm not going to do that whole entire thing. Okay, all those in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, we're going down to bylaws now. The first bylaw, let's get on. Town of Lake Cowichan remuneration. And expensive bylaw number 10842022 may be reconsidered and adopted. Do I have a mover to adopt that? No? So we're letting it die, are we? Is that what we're doing? Okay. Done. Next one is where are we at? Bylaw, stop it. Town of Lake. If nobody votes on it, it dies.
There was no movement second.
So it dies and then what happens?
That's a good point.
Well, I know we passed the original one in September.
So that's, so I can come back with an amendment which only reflects the schedule. So basically that's, because everything else has been approved. And you've got to remember that you've got a code of conduct that you have agreed to, so you've got to be careful about just letting issues that affect you just be sitting on the desk.
So that will come back to the next regular meeting
In a different form.
in a different form. Councillor Sandu? Did you?
I just wanted clarification on that comment. Personal.
Yeah, no, I just, because it's affecting council, right? So that's the issue.
Normally for the remuneration, we do it for the next council, not for ourselves. And that's what we did in September. And then there were a couple of issues that I thought had been dealt with. So did you have something, Mr. Councillor Frisbee?
Yeah, if we don't move it, there's no chance for discussion.
No, you have to have it on the table.
Okay.
Sorry.
So,
we-
you're right.
So we can't discuss anymore. Okay, so Town of Lake Cowichan, where am I? Town of Lake Cowichan, bylaw 1089 and 2023 may be read first, second, and third time. This is the financial plan bylaw. Do I have a mover for that?
The one we did today.
This is the one we got today.
It's just first, second, and third reading.
I haven't had a chance to read it. Yeah, today.
That's our budget discussions
Just
to date. That's
Basically,
what we've
based on
been
what
meeting on, all the budget meetings, yeah.
just put in a different format, so you just need to look at schedules at the back.
Councillor Sandu?
Can I just say that we have this sooner than Tuesday, 2 hours before our meeting, because I work till 3:30, and this, I can't review these. I do my review on the weekend. So something like this, we've got to be better prepared.
Yeah, I think in fairness to the director of finance, she did not get the information from the school district. So we couldn't really put that into the bylaw.
That's what we pay out, yeah.
So can we read just the first and second reading tonight?
We will need 2 more meetings.
You'll have to have
We could still do
extra
the third and then move it on to the next.
If there's no discussion after you have the third, you do the third, right?
I don't know. I'm totally lost. I don't
Well, I
know
mean,
what
you
the problem is.
approve the budget the way it's set, so we'll, I mean, it's the other material that you made up. You know, it's just material that's we've done in the past.
You did send out, actually, I printed out most of the stuff. You did
Yeah,
send
the
out
one-
quite a bit.
The tax,
Yeah. So
well, that's up to you. We
What's
can
your
always have
pleasure?
We can always have another meeting. Special meeting.
well, we have been having our budget meetings. Most of that stuff has been in those meetings. So does anybody
Exactly
feel
what
like,
was in the budget meetings, it's just in a different format.
yes, it is. It's all the same. So what do we do now, folks?
So can we go ahead and pass first, second, and third reading, and Councillor Frisbee can take any questions that he may after he peruses it to talk to Ms. Gill. And
It's not just him.
oh, you never
Also-
saw it either?
No. I
Okay.
was working today. I'll move it to get on the table.
Seeing that,
Okay, mover, Councillor Sandu, and second, Councillor Frisbee. It's all the information, I've lost it, I put it over there, was from our budget meetings. There's nothing, I don't think that we didn't see already in all the budget meetings
Well,
we
there
had.
was 2 things added from the budget meeting, and that was the traffic study that council had asked
Or
for.
was it addition? Yeah.
And the septic system for Clark, which was council was aware of that. So there's been no changes other than the requests that were made.
Those two.
Those
So
two.
there's not that anything secretive or funny in there that we don't know about, right?
Correct.
Well, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. So, any more discussion on that, or are we going to vote on that now? All those in favor of doing the first, second, and third reading? Carried, thank you. Okay, where are we now? Annual rates bylaw number 1902023. And maybe read it first and second and third time. You want to speak to that, Mr.?
Yeah, well, basically this, you have to pass the 5-year plan to arrive at the tax rate. So without the budget in place, the rates would be meaningless. Agree to those rates. Those rates are based on what's in. So this is,
Do I have a mover? Counselor Sandu, seconder? Counselor Vomaka, any discussion? And all those in favor? Okay, thank you. And last but not least, the Town Lake Cowichan zoning amendment bylaw 1091 may be read a first and second time. Mr.
yeah,
Fernandez.
what happened is when the redo of the bylaw was done back in 2021, for R5, if you look at the column under R5, the secondary suite component was missed. when it was in the original bylaw prior to that. So we had the applicant come by and said, look, I, in good faith, applied for a secondary suite in my property, and now it's not there, and sure enough, we checked our files, and we did make a mistake to just reinserted the secondary suite back in the R5.
Right, that's R5, okay. Do I have a mover for that? Counselor Sandhu, seconder? Counselor Wamaka,
So that's first and secondary.
first and second reading. Any discussion on that? All those in favor? Okay, we're going down to new business inventory of provincial lands for consideration for affordable housing. I think this is just the lands that is
Available.
Crown.
Yeah, and gave this to a planner to come up with property, so that's what we buy.
Yeah. Any questions on that? Counselor Wamaka?
So block 177 along the road to the Cowichan Lake Education Center, right hand, left hand,
That would be the left hand,
left hand side, but,
but it's really,
yeah.
there's nothing else, but we can pass that if we under the problem.
Okay, and that will go to the
Yeah.
provincial government. Yeah. Any other discussion on that one? Counselor Frisbee?
The area that was cleared that I believe used to be a gas station at the rec centre, is that parkland?
Yeah, that's ours.
That's your parkland?
It's that.
Is it, would it fall in this, under this, or has it been consumed by the park?
It's been consolidated. Yeah, so the entire farm.
It wasn't Crown land to begin with.
No,
that
it was
one.
not.
We're really just Crown land is what we're
We
doing.
bought it, the town bought it from the private.
Thank you. Audited financial statements for 2022 forthcoming, which we got this evening.
And you need to approve.
We need to approve the financial statement that we received this evening. Do I have a mover for that? Counselor Sandhu, a seconder, Counselor Frisbee. Any further discussion? And all those in favor of that? Okay. Where am I? The C, leave of absence, May 9th. Do we have a mover for that? Counselor Sandhu. Counselor, and that's for Mr. Frisbee, Counselor Frisbee, right? And all those in favor? I guess I'll do that too. D is short-term rental information.
Yeah, I had this on there just because of the previous thing that came up with the garden suite. So I'm just wondering clarification, because we see a lot of Airbnbs being promoted in town. Are Airbnbs or short-term rentals allowed on Lake Cowichan?
B&Bs are allowed.
Bed and breakfast businesses, yeah,
Allowed in certain areas.
but
Short-term rental is only allowed on one property, and that's by, I'm not sure.
so with short-term rentals, they have to come and apply for a business license before anything's advertised, or how does that work?
No, they can only rent the premises for 30 days to qualify. as Short-term rental. They can rent longer, but they're allowed to
So the
rent for shorter periods.
minimum is 30 days. So all these Airbnbs that we're seeing, and with the premier coming down with regulations around those enforcement. So is it something we haven't looked into before as a council?
It's something to go to the APC to discuss.
Well, it will have to come to us, the province has to enact it. Have they enacted legislation yet?
I don't think legislation comes.
Not yet.
September.
Right.
Yeah. We have discussed it at the APC before, but nothing has come out of it. I have quite a bit of documentation from someone who did own an Airbnb, and they wanted to be legal, so, but it's kind of, you need some really good guidelines. Did that answer your question?
No, just with the bylaw officer at the moment, that's not something they oversee at the moment or enforce. Or look
Well,
into.
we can still enforce it. You don't need a bylaw officer to enforce that. As long as there's information that's given to us, we then try to let it go along to.
Question.
Yes,
So
Councilor
the terminology, the difference between, I know a B&B is usually 1 or 2 nights. Short term is 30 days. Where does vacation rental
It's basically the same.
The same as short term, because there are a lot of
Yeah, it's
advertised
just different terminology.
short-term rentals in, Lake Cowichan with no
Yeah.
business licenses. No, and we addressed that before. Brought it up.
And B and Bs have to be sanctioned by the province. They do site visits and everything.
And
It's
they
quite-
pay this is.
Yeah, and they pay a business license. Councillor Frisbee.
And the reason I bring it up is it's not, so I realize that there is short-term rental restrictions in town as far as places to stay.
Yeah.
It's just, we're getting to a dangerous spot where people are buying properties with the sole reason of being Airbnb and having that extra income, which is inflating, it's starving our rental market. So I think it is something that we should look into to try and get more affordable housing on the market and the rental market.
Yes, and we rezoned 2 different properties with secondary suites, smaller homes, smaller lots of duplexes. One on Point Ideal and one at the beginning of town, and actually put in there no short-term vacation rentals. So that we have done that in this last little bit. E, Economic Development Fund, Mr. Frisbee.
I also put this in here just in case it didn't get raised earlier, but it goes back to the COVID relief fund and the clarification on what we're allowed to spend money on with the COVID relief fund. So
Yeah.
that was all I was asking for, was information on that.
Okay, cool. Did you want to bring up the part about talking about the question period at the beginning? I put it on mine, and we can mention that question period that people can email in prior to the meeting, not at the end of the meeting. You did mention that.
I wasn't bringing it up as new business. I was hoping it's going to be done. at the start.
Oh, I see. Okay, so,
And I think we have asked stuff
yeah,
prior. Can
yeah.
we get it up there?
yeah, it will be. It'll be at the
Yeah,
top next time.
if I may, the issue is we have a procedure bylaw which spells this out to the location we've got it.
Right.
So, but I think it's incumbent on council to mention it at the beginning, so it doesn't have to be fun.
So we can mention it at the beginning, whether or not, because the procedural bylaw has it at the
Unless you
top.
want to change that.
No. No more bylaws. Well, it's just would be that one thing. I forget, right, are we done with all the new business? I think so. Everybody happy? No, you're not happy? Oh,
I didn't say that.
okay.
Just the clarification.
So in lieu of the mayor being on holidays, wherever he may be, I've done a deputy mayor's report. I won't go on for hours, but anyway, I recently reread the town's newsletter and garbage organics recycling information that comes with our utility bills. And there's a lot of beneficial information in the newsletter that residents should really look at. And if you know renters, because there are still a few renters around, they don't receive these, maybe encourage them to come and get them at the office. And I have given them to some of our neighbors in the past. Some of us attended the ABICC in Nanaimo, April 14th to 16th. It was for a very informative conference. Some of the clinics I attended were the evolving roles of municipalities and community health, and our Cowichan was a major player in that particular one. And the Jennifer Rice, the parliamentary secretary and MLA, was in the group that I was in, and I did bring up the fact that our firemen are not covered for the medical assists. Their money is not paid back, and she is going to look into that. Luckily, the chap next to me was the former fire chief from Duncan, and he reiterated all that as well. So it was very informative. Growing farmers and food resilience in the Cowichan Valley, talked about the food recovery, our green community, which is fabulous, and helping young agrarians with land leases, which is something when we went to Squamish, they were showing you where they had leased pieces of land, people that could not afford to buy it themselves, and they were growing different crops. Very interesting. We had media and social media information, who should be speaking to the media, how to handle media and Facebook discussions. That was very good. And I was very pleased that the Scotch broom resolution passed unanimously, because this will be our 6th year clearing broom from the town. I think we've done a pretty good job, but there's always new ones coming up. I have a new volunteer that talked to me the other day. It was volunteer week last week, and I know we all appreciate the many volunteers in this community. Many beneficial projects would not be completed without the commitment of our local volunteers. A former mayor and council hosted an event from time to time honoring some of the local volunteers with a certificate of appreciation, and perhaps we can implement that again in the near future. The annual day of mourning is Friday, April 28th at 11 a.m. at the Forest Workers Memorial Park by the library, with refreshments to follow at the Castle Museum Complex. I am so pleased that this event, sponsored by the Steelworkers Local 1937, is held at the park, which was created by the Cowichan Lake Community Forest Co-op in 2007. And we now have it there every year. They didn't the first couple of years. It was, we are there to honor those who have passed away while on the job, not only in forestry, but in all areas of employment. People should be safe at work and expected to be home safe and well at the end of the day, no matter what job they have. There's two little notices. One, July 1st celebrations will again be held at Central Park from 11 until 2 with music, fun events for kids, refreshments, and the famous Canada cupcakes. And residents have asked if we are going to do a town barbecue at Saywell Park again, now that the COVID restrictions have been lifted. So that's perhaps council can, now we used to do it on lake days, which would be June 10th. Perhaps we could do it at that time or a different time. And maybe council can discuss that in a future meeting. It might be difficult to keep the prices down because steaks are so expensive right now, but it's something to think about. And that is my deputy mayor's report. Thank you for listening. What? You weren't listening? Oh, do you want me to read it again? Just a minute. Thank you. Okay, did anybody else want to say anything about the ABICC that they attended in Nanaimo?
It was an overall okay, conference. I'm finding though that it's the same pattern of conversations at each of the sessions. So for me, it's kind of, you've heard it once, twice, 3 times. One of the ones I really engaged with was the managing emergencies, the increasing impact on our community. And the Deputy Minister of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness was there. She was one of the speakers, and she was talking about that there are 3 main regulations under the existing program act, which will be modernized. The first one is the Emergency Program Management Regulation. Second is Local Authority Emergency Management Regulation. The third one is Compensation and Disaster Financial Assistance Regulations. And they're promoting 2 new subject areas, compliance and enforcement and critical infrastructure. So they really talked in depth about the compliance or the when the emergency hit, what is our response and recovery? The recovery is an important aspect of this. And so they talked briefly on that. And they were saying that local authorities have become more responsible for managing emergencies within their jurisdiction. And special powers and state of local emergency. So, and this was the Emergency Program Act of 1996. So, and this is one of the reasons I keep asking about our emergency plan, and that is so that we can, as a council, identify and understand what is the process if we have a specific emergency, what happens. Like, I personally, as a councillor, do not know. I've never seen our emergency plan, and I think it's important that this people also understands what the plan is and what's in place. And we have no part in it, and that's not, but it's for anybody asking out there, if there was a specific emergency, how do I answer that? How do I direct somebody to something? So that is
Right. Thank you. One thing I did forget to mention, we have a play on this weekend. I don't know if you're supposed to advertise that, but anyway, it's something that hasn't happened for quite a while, and I'm hoping people will enjoy that as well. We're going to go to question period for the offsite again. Oh, sorry, notices of motion. Was there any? Did you have one?
I'll have this given to staff to put in council's docket. But it was a letter from our resident that is asking about the remaining funds being held for Kate. For Kate's Park, they're looking at those funds being used to possibly plant another tree, and there's a plaque that was purchased but has not been put in place. So that can either go to, I don't know if it's a notice of motion to bring up at Public Works or just
So
give it
To staff.
give it to staff. You know,
The funds that they have.
that
Yeah.
they have, that they were passed, sent a letter and asked that it be brought to mayor and council. And
We just direct staff.
and then
Direct
direct
to
to
staff?
election or notice of motion.
So it's not a notice of motion, it's
Yeah, it's
direction to
just
staff,
Just a direction, yeah.
okay, because they have the money and they have got.
And the other one was, it got off an agenda, but there was a notice of motion, I think, from committee of the whole last month about, renewed membership with the Chamber of Commerce. And that didn't come to the table, so if we can bring that back next month, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. So question period, limited to items on the agenda. I did mention the email address at the beginning, if anybody had any questions. Did we receive any emails yet? Any emails? And we have some local people here who would like to ask a question.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Always wanted to do this on the agenda said 3 minutes to ask a question, so I give you 3 minutes to give some preamble to it. I think I've seen it done before, always wanted to do it, so. In reference to the letter from Subasa requesting $5,000, I guess, I don't want to say we apologize, but as a strategic advisor, we saw that opportunity to apply at a short turnaround. We sent in a work plan, we've been successful in getting the grant. And we identified that Subasa had committed $5,000 uncommitted dollars, possibly to the town CBRD. And so that was submitted, we were successful. We're going ahead with the project anyways. The extra funding will just enhance the exercise all that much more, rather than just hiring somebody with zero budget, because we want to get the best person we can find out there. And to work with, and yes, the town will be engaged, that's part of the work plan, we have to follow through on that, that's the work plan, I have to report back on that. As will the CBRD and every nonprofit organization within the town and college will be asked to be in that process of final report. Finally then call a summit, and that will help us bring the right topics to the summit for everybody who wants to attend. So with that, I'll ask the question. Should the town of Lake Cowichan receive the work plan and be able to look at it, is there opportunity after the budget passes third reading, which we've already had, to redirect funding from other line items to that if the council so desires to take part?
That's a question. Do we answer it or do we discuss it? We'll have to discuss it. And as I say, the C2C meeting is May 8th. That could be discussed at that time, I'm sure, with the mayor and Councillor Frisbee as well.
And our CAO.
And our CAO and the other Aaron. Will Aaron be there? Aaron Hamilton? Yes.
So just a follow-up question. Rather than waiting for correspondence, CEO and stuff, the strategic advisor just forward the work plan for the discussion.
Yeah, that's fine.
Reading went back.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Did you have anything, Mr. Garrett?
I'll just add to my letter by saying that in 1776, an American political activist by the name of Thomas Paine said something to the effect of those that dare not to offend can never be honest. So hopefully I'm honest.
I don't know. I'll have to think about that.
Ask the question.
That was a statement. We don't allow statements, but that's it. Thank you very much. And no emails from anyone that is interested in,
Yeah, I have one.
oh, yes.
Just going back to Darnell. I know you guys directed to put up signage to change that. We cannot do it that easily. I talked to the Ministry of Transportation because we're turning onto their road. They're gonna review it with their engineers, and the RCMP is gonna look at it as well with their traffic people before we can do anything on it. It's gonna be, I've now looked at it, it's gonna be difficult. Because there's a turn lane, left turn lane there, and then there's the island when you're gonna approach the island or the roundabout, the truck may not make that. So, Ministry of Transport is gonna bring their engineers to look at it.
Good.
And it's gonna be up to them if they allow us.
At least we tried to do it, yes?
At least we'll get MOTI out here, I guess.
I had them out.
You did?
Yep, we had a drive around last Thursday. So we looked at Point Ideal as well. a few others.
And if I may,
Yes,
have we got any prices for that, for the traffic study yet or looked into it? Or
Not yet. No.
okay, thank you. That's it. Okay, I guess we're gonna move to in camera.
Read that part.
To that.
Section 92 of the community charter requires that before a meeting or part of the meeting is to be closed to the public, council must take by resolution why the meeting is to be closed. And the basis on which the meeting is to be closed falls under the following section of the community charter, section 91F, law enforcement.
All right, do I have a mover for moving, Councilor Wamaka, second? Councilor Sandu, all in favor to move to in camera? And carried, thank you. And now we need an adjourn, we're adjourning to in camera, yeah. Right.
And I think
Thank
he's out there.
Are we muted?
Either one.
Don't
Yeah.
say a word.